A blessed Sunday. It's a Sunday today, and we're now on our 87th episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. My name is Coach Darwin Rivers, and I welcome you to another value-adding session of our online virtual program. Our topic for today is how to win the next phase on the war on talent. And our guest speaker and facilitator for this discussion would be no other than seasoned HR leader, Mr. Froilan Florendo. You will be seeing him later on, and he will be helping us understand and teach us how can we win this new phase of the war on talents post pandemic. So for all of you guys who are listening or watching live right now, and for all of the team replay, we welcome you to the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa, our online talk show program every Sunday, 3 p.m. And this is sponsored by the Philippines HR Group. Again, I am your HR Cafe server, Coach Darwin Rivers. I'm the founder and president of the Philippines HR Group. I'm a certified life coach, a public speaker, a motivational speaker, and HR consultant. I'm also currently the VP for Global HR Operations of a BPO company. Joining me for today are our mentors, our HR Cafe servers, Mentor Strodel Ferentino. Mentor Strodel has more than 20 years of HR practitioner experience working in different local and international companies. She's the president and CEO of Rush Social Geekers. She's a public speaker and HR consultant. Hi, Mentor Rona. Please say hi to our audience for today.
Hello, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Siyempre, isa na naman pong napakagandang Sunday afternoon para tayo ay matuto na kung ano may mga kailangan nating matutunan pagdating po sa pag-handle ng mga empleyado, mga latest tungkol sa mga labor advisories, naku, lalong-lalo na at Holy Week na next week. At mapagpalang Palm Sunday din po sa inyong lahat, sa mga kapatid nating Katoliko, mapagpalang Palm Sunday po. Huwag pong kalimutang itag ang inyong mga friends, colleagues sa ating comment section at i-share nyo rin po kung saan kayo nanonood right now para naman mabati po namin kayo. Coach Darwin?
Okay, and is Mentor Tida already with us? Mentor Rona?
I think wala pa po siya, baka naglalagin pa lang. Pero I think she will be joining later.
Okay, Mentor Rona though is Mentor Tina, is an operations and HR leader with broad local and overseas experience. She's a general manager for a retail company, and she's best known for online content, tinaandmanila.com. She will be joining us as part of today's HR Cafe servers. Okay, so we welcome you to the HR Cafe. Here at our program, we provide timely news and updates. We impart knowledge and experience that are value-adding and beneficial to our audience. We discuss problems, issues, and challenges, and provide answers and resolutions through our guest resource and guest speakers. If there are any new technologies, tools, and processes, we also discuss them here in our program to ensure that you are updated on the industry's best practices. The HR Cafe is also a virtual job board, and for any job-related announcements, please place it at the comment section and we'll be happy to announce it and share it to our general audience. End of day, we would like to bridge understanding between employers and employees, and of course, create inspiration and motivation to the Filipino working community. Mga kababayan, mga ka-HR, for all of you guys who are watching today, welcome to the HR Cafe. Now, we start our program with the wow quote for the week. And for this week, our wow quote for the week comes from no other than Richard Branson. Richard Branson is known to be a successful businessman. And according to him, we need to train people well enough so that they can leave. Treat them well enough so they don't want to. Okay? Let me just repeat that again. According to Richard Branson, train people well enough so they can leave, but treat them well enough so they don't want to. How does this particular quote resonates to you? Share it to us, and we'll be happy to discuss it with all of our audience here in our program. Mentor Rona, let's start with you.
Well, ako, itong quotation na to, actually, matagal na tong umiikot sa internet. And train people well enough so that they can leave. Treat them well enough so they don't want to. We are still in the topic of great resignation, and a lot of companies worldwide have been experiencing the great resignation. I think one of the problems that we are facing right now is that we always look at resignation, we always look at investing in people as something na masama. Masama yung mag-resign kasi naku, kawawa naman yung company, paano operations, paano ganito. Nahihirapan mag-invest yung mga company, paano pag umalis, paano pag ganito. We are always in that mindset. In reality, we should not be afraid of these things. We should not be afraid of the resignation if we are doing the right thing. If we are providing the employees what they need to have in the first place para mag-one-line trabaho nila. Kasi wala naman talagang tumatagal sa isang kumpanya. Kahit pa anong gawin natin, aalis at aalis yung mga yan. Ang tanong na lang is kailan mo sila gustong umalis, yung panahon na masama na yung loob nila o yung panahon na magiging grateful sila dahil pinrovide nyo lahat yung support. So when it comes to investing people, I am a firm believer of instead of looking at ano ba ang return on investment, you should always look at ano ba ang magiging contribution nito para itong employee ko, by the time na maisipan niyang umalis, kami mismo ay magiging proud kasi he is not the person he was when he started with us. And that he's moving to a better company, he has all of these better skills, better mindset na pwede namin ipagmalaki na, uy, tatak ng company namin yan. May mga ganun eh. Yun yung pride ninyo. Instead of having employees na ang tagal-tagal nag-stay, ang pride ninyo is that pag dumaan sa amin ng empleyado at lumipat sa inyo, ibig sabihin magaling yan. And there are companies who actually do that. Companies such as, let's say, Accenture, SGV. Accenture, pag sinabing dumaan ka sa Accenture, ibig sabihin magaling ka. Kasi sa Accenture, tumatanggap sila ng, if I remember correctly, programmers, developers who are not even IT graduates. They accept people who are like that. And when they get to other companies, talagang pinag-aagawan. Kasi alam ng mga tao na yung dumaan sa Accenture, talaga namang alam ang ginagawa, nabubog talaga sila sa mga learnings, sa mga iba't ibang situation. So kahit ano pang situation, kaya nilang hawakan yan. Same goes with SGV. Pag galing ka ng SGV, galing ka sa Big Four, pag-aagawan ka ng mga companies because companies know that the training that you've had with those companies ay priceless talaga. So, bilang companies, no matter how big or how small your company is, always have the learning mindset and always invest in your people. Yes, they will leave. At some point, everybody will leave except the owner kasi ikaw yung may-ari. But each one of your employee, aalis at aalis yan. Pero mag-invest ka sa kanila. Hindi dahil sa naghahanap ka ng return on your investment, but because by training them, by giving them all of these opportunities, they improve in what they do. They become better at what they do. And the first person who would benefit from becoming better is your organization. Kayo yung unang-unang magbe-benefit dyan. Yung mga matututunan niya, unang-unang pag-a-applyan niyan ay kayo. Pag umalis siya, yes, iba na niya i-a-applyan, pero kayo yung unang magbe-benefit from there. Ikaw, Coach Darwin, ano po ang masasabi mo?
Okay, before I give my take on this, sa mga nakikinig at nanonood po sa amin, please share to us how this particular quote resonates to you. Ano po ang inyong opinion sa quote na ito? Ilagay nyo lang po ang inyong pangalan, kung ano pong company kayo, at kung saang lugar kayo sa Pilipinas. At para po ma-share din po namin at basahin namin ngayon sa aming programa. Now, for this particular quote of Richard Branson, train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to leave. I think tama ka nga, Mentor Tine, a lot of people leaders, a lot of employers, a lot of even HR leaders, one of the struggles that they are having, especially if you're not yet mature enough as a professional is you tend to you tend to see resignation as a personal attack on you or attack on the company or as a personal 'di ba? Parang personal challenges. Kasi ang tingin natin pag nag-resign ng isang tao, ano ba yung hindi natin nagawang mabuti sa tao? Meron ba tayong pagkukulang? Meron ba tayong hindi naibigay? Meron ba tayong hindi sapat na suportang hindi nabigay sa tao? Or minsan nga, yung iba, di ba, pag sinasabi nag-resign kagad, we tend to brand them as walang utang na loob, hindi man lamang marunong tumanong utang na loob kasi we train them enough and stuff. Pero I think ang importante dito is unang-una, nabigyan mo ba ng proper opportunity ng development program yung tao? Kasi when you train someone, when you train your employee, when you train your team member, it's also very important na you're conscious that this person is seeks opportunities to better themselves, either in upskilling their skills or also making sure that there is growth not only in their career but also in their finances. And if you're not able to give that in your organization, kung there's no space for you to either promote them, to further invest in training and development, or also to ensure that they will have enough financial rewards or recognitions in your organization, then you should not take it personal when the employee leaves, because that particular employee would always want to better himself or herself, because primarily he or she is doing that not only for his or her career but also for the people or for the family that he or she is supporting, and also for his or her self-development. Kung sa tingin niya tumigil na yung development niya sa kumpanya nyo, then chances are the person will look into what greener pastures or other companies who would be able to provide those, again, provide either opportunities to upscale or better themselves, opportunities to have a greater salary or income, or opportunities to in terms of movement in their career or movement in the career ladder, di ba? So, ang una-una natin dapat isipin, do we have the policies and processes and the initiatives in our organization, in our company? Do we have the programs that would actually support people not to live your organization but to stay and grow and be better? Kasi kung na-train nyo sila ng mabuti at patuloy silang magbibigay ng kanilang oras, panahon sa kumpanya, makikita nyo hindi lang yung tao ang nag-grow, hindi lang yung employee ang nag-grow, kundi pati ang kumpanya. So that's the reason why we should always reward our people who have been with us, who have been loyal to us, and also who have been with us through thick and thin, and have seen the growth of the organization. So that's it from my end. How about from our audience? Meron ba mga inputs dyan, Mentor Rona?
Meron actually. Miss Marigold Rivera has mentioned something. Naku, ang ganda na sinabi ni Miss Marigold. Sabi niya, happy Sunday and happy learning. HR Head of Producers Bank. Thank you for this activity. Learning a lot. My take on those leaving, if their personal or career goals are no longer achievable in the company, it is better to go than stay and not be happy or satisfied financially and professionally. Mas okay na nga naman na umalis na lang kesa doon sa hindi ka naman na masaya. Mahirap kasi pag hindi ka na masaya sa ginagawa mo, syempre, pag hindi ka na masaya, yung productivity din, nagsasuffer. So, di ba, might as well go. Meron namang talagang mga opportunities dyan na mas swak dun sa kung ano man yung pangailangan mo. At sa company din, meron naman ng mga tao talaga na maka-hire kayo na mas fit doon sa position na meron kayo. Ayan.
Agree. Okay, so if there's no more input from our audience or our listeners, let's go to our HR question for the week. And the HR question for the week is, since naman ito ang panahon na napakarami ng mga companies ang gagawin ng face-to-face interaction, nagiging normal na uli ang ating buhay sa ating trabaho, di ba? Ang buhay trabaho natin. Ito na yung time kasi summer, maraming team building activities, di ba? Mentor Rona.
True.
At
True,
ang
ito ang
tanong,
panahon ng team building activities.
oo, ito ang panahon ng team building activities, mga strat planning, team building activities, and whatnot. At marami nagtatanong, is it more effective to have an external facilitator or someone external to facilitate your team building or strat planning? Kasi ang iniisip ng ibang employer is, may HR ka naman, may leadership team ka naman, sila na dapat bahala to create an effective team building program. Pero for me, there's a pros and cons, di ba, in
True.
getting an external facilitator to facilitate your team building. So that's our question for the week. Is it more effective to have an external facilitator or external vendor to facilitate your team building activities for your company or organization? Mentor
Ako sa
Roland,
Sa
from you,
totoo lang,
anyway.
Coach Darwin, walang right or wrong answer dito eh. Kasi it all depends on the situation. I think, kasi pag internal, at least meron na silang idea ng kung saan magpo-focus, ano yung mga challenges, ano yung personality ng mga a-attend noong team building. So, mas madaling mag-craft ng mga activities, madaling iayusin kung ano yung mga pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga program at kung ano man yung gagawin during the team building. But an external team building facilitator also allows you to see things from a different perspective nang walang halong emosyon. Kasi minsan pag internal, syempre nandoon yung na kahit paano naapektuhan ka, nagkakaroon ka ng unconscious bias for or against the people that you are working with. But if you have an external facilitator, wala siya noon kasi hindi niya talagang nakikilala kung sino yung mga taong yun. Plus, mas objective ang tingin niya sa kung ano ba yung mga challenges ng organization. Pero, at the end of the day, the better question to answer is, were you able to properly identify the reason why you need the team building in the first place? Kasi parang sa atin ngayon, diba, parang nagiging basta't April, May, yung mga summer months.
O sa summer, kailangan may team building.
Oo, kailangan may team building without really taking into consideration, sandali, why do we need this? Diba? Ginagamit lang natin yung team building na excuse para mag-swimming, mag-outing, but it's not necessarily team building. And that can be a problem. Kasi, yung nabibuild dyan, yes, it helps you build relationships, but it doesn't address any underlying problem. So at the end of the day, ang tamang question na sagutin is, were you able to properly identify why you need the team building in the first place? Because if you're able to properly identify that, whether it's internal facilitation or external facilitation, magkakaroon ng resolution yung mga concerns noong mga employees ng company. Di ba, Coach Darwin?
Agree. You always have to go back to your why. Why are you planning or why are you staging a team building program? Is it just to give an opportunity for employees to have their R&R, diba? Or is it really more of to resolve an issue within the team or within the organization, and you need to have enough time and have a program that would support creating a more cohesive team so that you'll be able to be more productive when you go back to work. And I agree with Mentor Rona. There's no right or wrong answer to this question. Ako, I'll just highlight the pros and cons tulad ng ginawa ni Mentor Rona. For the pros of having an external facilitator is that, di ba meron tayong tinatawag na familiarity sometimes. Familiarity equals complacency. Kung masyado ng familiar yung mga tao sa'yo, sa team mo, sa HR or sa leadership team, minsan hindi na yan sumusunod, minsan may mga biases na rin sila, di ba? Na ay nako, kaya nila pinapagawa yan kasi ganito, ganyan. Pero pag may external person, may external team or na magpa-facilitate yung team building, uh, more chances of that they see the external vendor as someone that is neutral. Neutral in a sense that who would give a neutral perspective if there is really an issue that needs to be resolved. Plus, having an external facilitator would also mean that you have someone who's seeing the whole situation or the whole problem outside, 'di ba? And would be able to recommend any best practices or anything that would really fit how the third party sees your current issues. Now, if it's internal, tama si Mentor Ron na kasi pag internal naman, kilala mo na lahat ng mga tao, alam mo na yung mga struggles and challenges nila. So, you'll be able to devise a program that will fully support yung yung mga dapat mong ma-resolve kung may mga issues man na dapat i-resolve kumbaga magiging mas madali para sa internal team na magpa-plan ng team building. End of
Correct.
day, ang importante is ma-achieve mo ba yung purpose of having your team building or strat planning programs or activities. So that's it for us for our HR question for the week. And now we will go ahead for updates with DOLE, SSS, Pag-ibig, and PhilHealth. Now for DOLE, pinapaalala lang po ng Department of Labor and Employment that effective April 11, 2022, all applications po for Certificate of No Pending Case and Certificate of No Pending Case on Child Labor will now be migrating from Google Forms to system-based format. Ito po ay specific para sa DOLE NCR. At para po magawa ito, kailangan nyo lang po mag-login sa ncr.dole.gov.ph region advisor achieve.php, or you can also go to clients.ncr.dole.gov.ph. Inuulit lang po namin para po sa mga companies na mag-a-apply ng Certificate of No Pending Labor Case and Certificate of No Pending Case on Child Labor, mag-login lang po kayo sa clients.ncr.dole.gov.ph kasi po effective April 11, ang mga certificates ito ay magmamigrate na sa system-based format coming from Google Forms. Okay? At next po ay napakamainit na usapin ngayon sa hindi lang sa NCR but sa buong Pilipinas ang plano po ng Department of Labor na tignan at pag-aralan kung kailangan na bang taasan ang minimum wage ng mga empleyado. Kung matatandaan nyo po, a few weeks ago, nagsabi po ang Secretary ng DOLE na si Secretary Bello na inirekomenda niya ang pagtataas ng minimum wage hindi lang po sa NCR, kundi po sa other regions in the Philippines. So of course, bago po mangyari po ang pagtataas na yon, meron po mga proseso at part po ng proseso ay ang pagkakaroon ng consultations. So there will be a scheduled consultations. April 8, there will be a sectoral consultations at ito po ay via Zoom. April 19, another sectoral consultations, also via Zoom. And then sa May 5, may public hearing po na magaganap. Kung gusto niyo pong makibahagi, kung gusto niyo pong ibigay ang inyong mga kuro-kuro at pananaw kung bakit po kailangan magtaas o hindi dapat magtaas ang sweldo ng minimum wage ng mga empleyado, either kayo po ay employee or kayo po ay isang employer, makabubuti po na kayo po ay makibahagi sa sectoral consultations na ito. Ito po ay libre at kailangan nyo lang pong mag-register at mag-log on sa Zoom na pinapakita namin sa inyo. Meron po itong link kung gusto nyo po ng complete details. Ito po ay matatagpuan sa FB page ng NCR DOLE or sa website ng DOLE. Okay? Now, for the SSS, pinapaalala po ng SSS na lahat po ng webinars na ginagawa nila, tulad po ng Philippines HR Group at tulad po ng HR Cafe, nagko-conduct din po ang SSS ng kanilang webinar specific for SSS. At ngayon, ina-announce na po nila na po pwede po kayo mag-rewatch or po pwede nyo uling panoorin yung mga webinars na to. Now, kung kayo po ay bago sa HR, especially sa compensation and benefits or total rewards, at gusto nyo pong matuto directly from SSS, inaanyayahan namin kayo, inaanyayahan po kayo ng SSS na mag-login lang sa YouTube channel at hanapin ng My SSS PH. At nanodoon po lahat ng previous webinars ng SSS. Andyan po yung tungkol sa iba't ibang benepisyo at sistema ng kanilang pag-a-apply para mag-apply sa isang benepisyo, isang pribilehiyong binibigay sa isang SSS member. So if you want to learn more about SSS and the webinars, just log into YouTube and search for My SSS PH. Another advisory from SSS is wag daw po tayo, pinapaalalahan po nila tayo lagi na wag po tayo magpaloko. Wag pong ipagkatiwala sa iba ang inyong personal na impormasyon upang ang inyong benepisyo at pribileyo ay hindi makompromiso. Kasi po, lately, tumataas po ang cybercrime at kung saan yung mga private information ay nakukuha ng mga sabihin natin mga kriminal na maaring gamitin ang iyong mga personal na impormasyon para po sila ang makapag-apply ng pribilehiyo ninyo na dapat ay para sa inyo, sa SSS. So, ang tanging paalala po ng SSS, kailangan po kayong makipag-transaksyon lamang sa mga authorized SSS official channels. Andyan po ang SSS hotline, ang hotline 1455, ang official SSS emails, members_relations at sss.gov.ph. At din po ang iba't ibang official email address nila. At of course, ang kanilang social media presence. Meron po silang Facebook, SSSPH, Twitter, PhilSSS, Instagram, MySSSPH, YouTube, MySSSPH, at Viber, MySSSPH updates. So tangi lamang po makikitransaksyon sa opisyal na channel or dumiretso na po kayo sa mga branches ng SSS. Huwag po tayong magpaloko sa mga tao online na nagsasabi na po pwede nila kayong tulungan para makapag-apply ng SSS benefit or hinihingi po ang inyong mga details patungkol sa inyong SSS. Ito po ay isang tuloko, wag po tayo magpaloko at alagaan po natin ang ating mga impormasyon na maaaring magamit ng ibang tao sa kasamaan. Okay? Now, another advisory also from SSS is that for the whole month of April, excluding po ang Holy Week, ang lahat po ng SSS branches sa National Capital Region ay bukas po mula 6 a.m. hanggang 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Uulitin po namin, lahat po ng branch ng SSS sa National Capital Region ay bukas po mula 6 a.m. hanggang 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, except lang po ang Holy Week. Also, meron pong mga SSS branches na bukas kahit Sabado. At ito po ang mga branches na to. Bukas po sila mula 8 a.m. hanggang 5 p.m. on the Saturdays. Yan po ang branches ng SSS sa Diliman, Cubao, Caloocan, San Francisco del Monte, Batasan Hills, JP Rizal sa Makati, Pasig Pioneer, New Panaderos, Manila, Binondo, Parañaque, SM Ora, Taguig, Las Piñas at Alabang, Muntinlupa. Again, itong mga SSS branch na po na to ay bukas po kahit po Sabado mula 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pag Saturdays at sa lahat naman ng SSS ay Mondays to Fridays 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if meron po kayong katanungan or gusto nyo po mag-apply ng inyong mga benepisyo sa SSS, pumunta lamang po kayo sa inyong SSS branches. Okay? So that's it for SSS. Next po ay ang HDMF or ang pag-ibig. Ano bang bago sa pag-ibig, Mentor Rona?
Naku, maraming bago sa pag-ibig. Pero bago tayo sa pag-ibig, meron lang ako ihahabol, Coach Darwin, kasi baka makalimutan po ng ating mga members. Pinapaalala po ng DOLE na ayon din po sa Republic Act No. 6727 or ang ating Wage Rationalization Act, required po ang mga establishments to submit an annual report on a verified itemized listing of their labor components specifying the names of the workers and employees below managerial level, kasama po pati ang mga learners and apprentices and disabled or handicapped workers who were hired under the terms prescribed in the contract. Kailangan nyo pong isubmit yung listahan ng pangalan nila at ang kanilang corresponding salaries and wages. For the calendar year 2021, ang submission po ng report is from April 11, 2022. So sisimula po yan bukas hanggang June 30, 2022 po. After po noon, ang regular submission na po should not be later than 31st of the following year. So, ibig sabihin, for the calendar year 2022, ang deadline po ng submission ay January 31, 2023. Ang pagsasubmit po ng report ay online po. Pupunta lang po kayo sa annualwagereport.nwpc.dole.gov.ph. Pag may mga concerns po kayo, pwede po kayo mag-email sa wage.report@produktibo@sahod.onmicrosoft.com. Doon po kayo po pwedeng mag-send ng mga questions niyo. Pero uulitin ko lang, kailangan niyo pong mag-submit ng listahan ng inyong mga empleyado na below managerial level kasama po ang kanilang mga sweldo sa annualwagereport.nwpc.dole.gov.ph. Further information can also be found in the Facebook page of NWPC or National Wages and Productivity Commission. At babalik po. Yes po.
Idalagdag ko lang, Mentor Rona, ha, kasi yung DOLE nagkakaroon na ng inspection uli at isa sa mga ini-inspect nila yung report na yan kasi yung site namin sa Makati, nagkaroon sila ng inspection last week at isa yan sa mga hininging reports.
Ayan. So, make sure po na kayo po ay makapag-submit. Huwag po tayo magpapahuli sa deadline. So, again, ang deadline po niyan ay June 30, simula bukas hanggang June 30, 2022 for the calendar year 2021. Make sure po na mai-submit nyo yan using the website that we mentioned para hindi po tayo magka-problema. Okay. At mabalik po tayo kay Pag-ibig. Naku, may bago pong pakulo si Pag-ibig at ito po ang kanilang Financial Literacy Program. Ayan, si Philly, Financial Literacy for the Filipino. Ano po ang kinaganda nitong ating Financial Literacy Program from Pag-ibig? Naku, pag kayo po ay pumunta doon sa kanilang website na makikita nyo po ngayon, yung ating phillyapp.treasury.gov.ph, mapupunta po kayo doon sa mga iba't ibang mga platforms na makakatulong po sa inyo para maintindihan kung ano nga ba ang financial literacy. Kasama po sa maaari nyo i-take advantage ay ang risk tolerance calculator para malaman nyo po kung anong inyong risk appetite, cash flow tracker para ma-manage nyo pong maigi ang inyong cash flow at ma-determine kung ano ba ang inyong investable fund, portfolio recommender para malaman nyo kung saan magandang mag-invest ng inyong mga pinag-ipunan, portfolio simulator para naman malaman nyo ang risk ng inyong mga investments, and of course, investor education para maintindihan ninyo kung ano nga ba ang iba't ibang uri ng investments. So yan po ang pinakabago sa Pag-ibig. Kung nais nyo pong pumunta doon sa kanilang platform, pwede po kayo using your website or your laptop, go to phillyapp.treasury.gov.ph. Kung kayo naman ay hawak na cellphone ngayon, scan nyo lang po yung nakikita nyo pong QR code para madala po kayo doon sa kanilang website. Ayan. Coach Darwin? Ayan, at pinapaalala din po ni Pag-ibig na sila po ay nag-launch ng kanilang lingkod Pag-ibig on Wheels. Isa po ito, so yung nakikita nyo pong picture dyan ay actually isa sa mga bagong units ng Mobile Pag-ibig Branch. Ang Mobile Pag-ibig Branch po ay nag-iikot po sila para mag-provide ng Pag-ibig services para doon sa mga empleyado na walang time pumunta sa pinakamalapit na branch or nahihirapan dahil medyo may kalayuan sa kanila ang branch. So pag pumunta po sa inyo ang Pag-ibig on Wheels, maaari po kayong mag-file ng inyong mga short-term loans, housing loans, po pwede nyo rin pong i-check ang inyong contributions. Employers, pwede rin po kayong mag-register using Pag-ibig on Wheels. Ina-announce po nila sa kanilang Pag-ibig Facebook page kung nasaan po yung susunod nila na location para sa Pag-ibig on Wheels. Ayan po. At syempre pa, ang ating paboritong government agency, PhilHealth. Pinapaalala po ni PhilHealth, pag nagbago po ang inyong mga personal information, dapat nire-report po agad yan para hindi kayo magkakaroon ng problema pag kayo po ay mag-claim. So kung nag-asawa, may bagong dependent, nagbago ng contact details, report niyo po yan sa PhilHealth using PhilHealth Member Portal. Punta lang po kayo sa memberinquiry.philhealth.gov.ph/member. Kung wala pa po kayong account, create po kayo ng account para kayo po ay makapag-change po, makapag-check kung tama po bang inyong mga information at ma-monitor nyo rin po ang inyong contributions. So dyan po dyan din po kayo po pwedeng mag-generate ng inyong MDR sakaling kailanganin ng mga hospitals kung saan kayo po ay pupunta or mako-confine. Ayan po. At 3 steps po ang pag-update ng PhilHealth member record, fill out ng PhilHealth member registration form pag gusto niyo po ay offline, maglakip po ng malinaw na kopya ng supporting document at i-email po sa actioncenter@philhealth.gov.ph. In fairness, nagamit po namin ito, mabilis naman po silang sumagot. So, effective naman po. Actually, hindi personal yung sa amin parang in-enroll namin yung mga empleyado namin kasi ang hirap pumunta doon sa pinakamalapit na branch. Sumagot naman kagad sila, binigay kagad sa amin yung confirmation na enrolled na yung mga employees. So at least 'di ba meron na tayong mga ganitong online transactions si PhilHealth na nakapagpapabilis ng ating mga coordination sa kanila. For details po, pwede po kayong mag-reach out sa PhilHealth sa kanilang callback channel 0917-898-7442. Text nyo lang po ang PHIC callback, space, mobile number nyo po or your Manila landline number, space, kung ano man po yung inyong katanungan or concern. Pwede rin dumiretso sa actioncenter@philhealth.gov.ph or pumunta sa kanilang Facebook page, ang PhilHealth Official, at ang Twitter page nila na Team PhilHealth or sa www.philhealth.gov.ph. Ayan po.
Okay. Now, for a few reminders from our sponsors, total ngayon naman po ay summer at kung kayo po ay nagbabalak na maghanap ng team building venue or kaya ay maghanap ng lugar kung saan po pwede pumunta ang inyong mga ka-office mates o yung pamilya, pinapaalala po ng Philippine HR Group at ang HR Cafe na partner po natin ang El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. So, kung kayo, meron po silang mga resorts and vacation club sa Pangasinan, sa Boracay, at sa Palawan. You just have to reach out to El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club FB page at sabihin lang po na kayo po ay miyembro ng Philippine HRG at meron po kayong exclusive discounts at special rates. At kung kayo naman po ay naghahanap ng postpaid na health card, ang MaxiCare po ay naglunsad ng kanilang 2 produkto, postpaid card, which is a postpaid HMO, the Prima Silver and Prima Gold. Ang Prima Silver po ay for individuals up to 59 years old at ang Prima Gold naman po ay for seniors 60 years old and above. If you want to know more, you just have to go to www.shop.maxicare.com.ph. Also, if you have any questions, i-post lang po ito sa main page ng Philippines HR Group. Meron po tayo sa Facebook at meron din po tayong LinkedIn group page. Hanapin nyo na po sa LinkedIn ang Philippines HR Group. At of course, inaanyahan po namin kayo na i-like po at i-follow ang FB page ng HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa. Doon nyo po makapanood lahat ng previous episodes and learning sessions ng ng Philippines HR Group at ng HR Cafe. And if your company would like to be a sponsor of our program or our initiatives in the Philippines HR Group or HR Cafe, just send me an email, darwinrivers@yahoo.com, or you can message any of our mentors, Mentor Rona, Mentor Tina, or Mentor Burns, at mag-message lang po kayo sa HR Cafe Trabaho, Buhay, Iba Pa FB page. Now, we're going to the second part of our program. Ito po ang free learning session. At tulad po ng pangako namin sa inyo, ang ating discussion for today ay how to win the next phase on the war on talents. At ang ating special guest ay walang iba kundi ang seasoned HR leader na si Ginoong Froilan Florendo. At si Mentor Rona po ang magbibigay ng uh, proper introduction sa ating guest speaker for today. Mentor Rona?
Ayan, ako, thank you very much, Coach Darwin. Ang atin pong speaker for today, I've known him for quite some time. He has been an HR practitioner for more than 25 years now. His expertise covers basically all areas of HR management function, which includes recruitment, employment, compensation and benefits, labor relations, performance management, policy formulation, and training. In his 25 years of practice, he has been exposed to different kinds of industries, making him really widely aware of the different practices in human resources management and development. Industries that he has been exposed to would include fast food, food processing, hospitality, service and information technology. His mastery in the field of HR and management and development was honed through hands-on exposure, being immersed thoroughly in the various processes involved therein. He has rose from the ranks, starting as a recruitment clerk and eventually assuming the country HR manager to one of the biggest software companies in the world. After all the success in the entirety of his career, he went into freelancing consulting and eventually he started setting up his own management consultancy group catering to one of the most difficult industries, which is the information technology industry. Naku, totoo, napakahirap ng pag-cater sa IT industry. Very, very challenging po yan. Ang kanya pong mga competencies would include compensation and benefits, performance management, employee and labor relations, recruitment and selection, total quality management, and training and organizational development. So without further ado, let me call on to the stage our guest speaker for today, Sir Froilan Florendo.
Sir Hello.
Froilan, magandang umaga po.
Good afternoon, Coach Darwin. We term it mentor, no? Mentor Darwin and Mentor Rona. So thank you very much, no, for that nice introduction. But of course, before I share, no, the learnings that I would like to impart, no. Again, I would like to take this opportunity to greet all our viewers a blessed Palm Sunday, and most especially to the two of you. And of course, in advance, I'd like to thank you for inviting me in this interesting session, no. So again, I am here to share based on how I understand the topic that you have shared to me. And of course, syempre, it all depends on how everyone views it, depending on the industries that they're in, depending on the type of operations that they're in. So, sa akin lang, ay nais ko lang ipabatid sa lahat, no, yung abot ng aking kakayahan sa aking profesyon, no, na minamahal. Tulad ninyo, mahal na mahal niyo ang HR, just like myself. And I'm very, very passionate about it. And has never turned my back in HR practice, despite the fact that, you know, I run my businesses already. So yun po. So how do we begin? Can I share my slide already?
Okay, sir. And we'll just be at the backstage. You can now begin your facilitation of your topic for today.
Okay. So thank
Sir
you.
Froilan, the floor is yours na po, ah.
Yeah, salamat, no. So again, good afternoon, everyone. I am very, very happy to share, no, some of the knowledge that I have been exposed to insofar as the topic that was shared to me is concerned, no. So, Mentor Rona actually has provided me the topic on how to win the next phase of war on talents, no. So napakahirap because of course each and every one of us would have a different view on how to win the talent or how to win the talent wars. But what I share to you is actually something that I've been exposed to for the past more than 25 years, no, being in the realm of recruitment. So let's understand first what is the war for talents all about, no. So I checked the definition, no? It says that it is an increasingly competitive landscape for recruiting and retaining talented employees. So war on talents pertains to how we, of course, bring in the people that we would like to work for us, and thereafter ensure that they stay on. No? It's not all about just recruiting them and allowing them to become your employees, but also it's all about how to retain them, no? How to win their hearts so that they would stay on a prolonged basis in your respective companies. So there are two perspectives, no, that I would like to share. No? Of course, me being in the headhunting business for 25 years plus, no, so allow me just to, of course, give you a glimpse, no, of how we look at talent wars, no. Kasi we are also part of that, what you call talent wars. We are contributing to this, no, because of course we are, the part wherein organizations touch base with us and pass on to us the challenge of attracting the talent that they wish to bring into their respective companies. So I've indicated here, some of the points that you have to understand as a headhunter. So we are, utilized, as a strategic approach in getting the right talent for an organization. So companies, employers come to us and, of course, require our services or get our services, avail our services, as a strategy to ensure that they can tap people that they wish to bring into their organization. So ito ay pamamaraan, no, to, of course, be more bullish in terms of getting the right people, and even to the extent of pirating, no. So it exists, no. It's not something that is not gonna happen. Sooner or later, this will happen. But again, it's an open thing. There are plenty of headhunters, not only myself, no. It's a dime a dozen industry. So what I'm saying is that we are part of the war. We contribute to the war, but of course, we are alliances of employers to, of course, enable that winning formula in terms of talent wars. Second point, helping organizations in exerting an extra mile in recruitment. So, of course, they have their own way of recruiting, no? So they have their strategies, their own way of approach in terms of recruiting people. But they actually utilize third-party recruitment services to exert an extra mile in, ensuring lang that they will have a full grasp of a majority of talents that they wish to bring in to their companies. Now, third, no? So deemed as frontliners sent in the battlefield in hunting the best talent. So kami po, no, being a headhunter, and it's actually an open thing naman to all employers and even HR managers watching right now. It is an open book that, they tap headhunters because they want to really be one step ahead of everyone else. So meaning to say, when you talk of one step ahead, they should have that leverage in terms of getting the right people for them. So when they engage in third-party recruitment services, they want to be more aggressive. They want to ensure that they tap the right people to ensure, bringing in the talent that they wish to employ in their respective companies. So kami po ay yung frontliners. We are sent out in the battlefield. No? Kami po yung parang, if you talk of a war, we are the first people or a group of people that will be deployed or dispatched to face on, the ground battle, so to speak, sa gera, sa digmaan po yan. No? And also, we're talking here of gera, we're talking here of wars, we're talking here of course, battles. We are considered as soldiers of fortune in the realm of recruitment. No? We are mercenaries in the war for talent. We are actually being tapped, and they pay us if we are able to bring in the right people that they want to hire, no? The right people that the organization wishes to hire. And that's the very reason why they actually engage our services. We act as the mercenary, no? So we do the service, or we do the activity, of course, for a fee. So it varies, no? It varies on how you would see it. But, in totality, it's the same thing, no? We serve, we provide, and then, of course, we are rewarded by way of the fees that we charge from our clients. Okay, how do we win the war? So this is just a glimpse. This is a basic formula of what headhunters do, no? So in order for us to have that advantage in terms of servicing our clients, this is the storyline that you would like to understand, no? This is a typical and a list of ingredients that a headhunter should do. Marami pong headhunters yan. And we have our trade secrets. But this is all common. Kumbaga, pag nagluluto po tayo, ito yung tubig, ito yung toyo, ito yung bawang, sibuyas, kamatis kung ginigisa. So this is the basic ingredients. But of course, when we utilize this, somehow you are already 60-70% of having that edge in this battle for talent or war on talent. So number one is understand the client company, o tips na ito for those who wish to engage in freelance headhunting activity, no? So understand the client company. So andyan po ang industry, ito yung history, the products and services. Understanding the client would enable you to somehow get the feel of the type of operations that they have, and of course allow you to sell this information to your target talents, when you do the headhunting. Next is complete job details. Of course, you need to understand this aspect because these are the ones that you would consider when you initially do the sourcing activity. So the job function, the experience, the skills. So these are the things that we have to understand when we get the information from our clients. So ito po yung impormasyon na dapat malaman because these information are conveyed to our target talents to entice them in presenting whenever or when we present an opportunity that the client has to offer. So ito po ay yung mga dapat na maintindihan para you will not be at a loss when you try to talk to potential candidates, because this is where the exercise of poaching or pirating happens. In addition, of course, putting the icing on the cake, meaning to say that, of course, when we want the right talent for our operations, when we want to hire the right talents for our clients, then these are things that you would need to take into consideration also to make that exact or determine the exact profile that you wish to present to your client, that has actually tapped your services. Professional licenses has to be there, professional certifications, especially on IT. This is very imperative. The professional certifications would play a lot of premium when we actually present it to our client. The remuneration package has to also be in consideration because, of course, no one will listen to you if you will be presenting something that is not comparable or higher to the talents already existing remuneration. So dapat yan, there is a premium. Say, for example, you hire or you tap someone, it is impossible that you would attract that talent when you offer something lower than where he is already. That plays an important factor when you try to entice and attract the talents that you wish to present to your client. Then, of course, the career milestones. The career milestones actually is an indicator of whether this potential candidate that we would be brokering to our client is a high flyer or a mediocre candidate. So the career milestones is actually a measure that somehow we would be able to easily sell to the target client, because it is an indication, it is a presentation of his capacities already, because there is factual basis in legal jargon, you call that factual basis, to indicate that this person that we will be brokering to our employers or client is something that would warrant their interest. So then, of course, down the line, you conduct a very targeted approach in identifying candidates. This would help you. When you say targeted approach, this means that you will have to present candidates that actually matches the requirement. Because in the principle of selling them what they want, then you have to present to them what they want to see. So in a targeted approach, you have to have that 80-90% viability in comparison to the specs that were provided to you. And this is very important because this is only the part that would trigger the interest of the client, and such being, then it would push or trigger an interview process. When the interview happens, then of course you're already 80-90% winning the ball game. Why? It is only the personality assessment whether there will be a match during the interview. Diba? That would only be determined during the interview. And when you get that chance that your candidate endorsement was interviewed, then you're already a step towards a potential success in that particular war that we're talking about. Then, ultimately, enable a success formula based on inputs provided by our clients or your clients. You have to remember that it's not going to be a perfect situation. So, at the first onset of the exercise, you will be encountering, of course, some negative insights, and use those negative insights, turn it around, no? So, if there was a negative input that was shared to you, use that, as a benchmark, and then, of course, enable that formula by not, of course, considering these points that were given to you. So you have to remove. These are the no list. When you do that success formula or success formulation in enabling a successful placement, there's a no list and there's a yes list. Take note of both. The no list would allow you to have an understanding on how the client would see it or see things. On the other hand, the yes list would actually help you enable what would be most attractive to your clients. So yan, napakaganda yung shinare natin na yan. And I'm sure, no, if you are into the HR field, you can explore doing freelance headhunting. But do not do not do it if you're employed by, of course, a headhunting company. But I share this to everyone because, of course, talent war is not about just, employers. It is also part and parcel. When you talk of the war, headhunters play a vital role. We are part of this war. And this war actually will not cease to happen. It always will exist because it has existed since time immemorial. When there is a recruitment effort that is required by any employer, we would always be there to help them out and be ahead of everyone else, especially when we try to source talents for our clients. Okay. In addition, no? So we should, understand what the job seekers look for. As a headhunter, you have to understand that there are certain tiers when you talk of recruitment. So it doesn't follow the applicability of one formula applies to the rest. So you have to understand the type of talent that you need to look for. So when you are looking for frontliners, consider these 3 points. No? So opportunities to start work quickly and easily, ease in the hiring process. Next is flexibility to care for families, children, elderly, as conditions outside the control change, the proverbial work-life balance, no? And then, of course, the health and safety related to all aspects of the job, including COVID-19 policies. Nowadays, no, this crop of people, no, would always look at these considerations whenever they wish to explore. The dynamics of how these people look at opportunities has changed a lot. Dati, titingnan lang isang aspeto. But right now, they look at this. Especially if you look at, the third point. Ang COVID-19, wala naman yan dati. Ito na nga, it's happening right now. It's what you call the new normal. So the new normal, when you talk of recruiting frontline workers, part of it, they look at, COVID-19 policies. Very important, no? Very important. And I hope you're appreciating what I'm sharing, no? Next. Okay. For mid-level employees, these are what they look for, no? Clear career paths and developmental opportunities. What's in store for them? Day one, moving forward. Do they see a bright future ahead of them when they enter the job or when they enter the employment? But these are the things that I always look at when they are in that mid-level part of a career ladder. No? Number 2, a healthy culture, core values that match a positive work environment. So tinitingnan nila if the culture is something that is not toxic. Usong-uso ngayon yan, yung toxic culture. But, people in this level or crop of job seekers, they look for this. Core values because they want to understand what is, of course, the VMV or the vision, mission, the values of that company for them to understand what is the direction of this company, where they want to be in terms of, moving forward and entering into this employer. This mid-level group would look at, of course, opportunities ahead of them. No? So other A players, top performance want to work with and for other top performers and create high-performing team. So ibig sabihin, when there are A players, they also would like to be part of a group of, people that they would work with as also in that region. So ito ay importante because of course, sabi nga nila, no, a team of A players would result to, of course, A results. So these are the things that they would look at. And fourth point, opportunities to work from home when appropriate. Now, again, no, this is something contributory to what you call the great resignation. No? People nowadays would always look at considerations in terms of work from home arrangements. It has happened in my company, but I will expound on it later, maybe in the Q&A. No? So this is already happening. No? In the technology realm, this is also doable. This has been doable for the longest time, but of course, when the pandemic transpired, things changed. No, the typical activities wherein we are required to report from office as a prerequisite has changed. No, the perspective has actually turned around, and the people nowadays, especially the generation or the Gen Z, or even if you talk of mid-level people, they would prefer, no, they would prefer an arrangement whereby they can work from home. So the explanation for that I do not really understand, but of course, it has given us a perspective. It has given us a different perspective of how we should attract people, especially for this crop of group, no, or the crop of job seekers at the mid-level point. No, okay, moving forward, C-level executives, no. Common naman ito because of course C-level executives would always look at something, in an opportunity that would enable them to have that leeway, no, to understand how they can actually move forward in terms of entering a new employer, no. So ito yon. There are 3 points: right fit between their specific talent, experiences, and the role they are being hired for, the role that they are being hired for. No, my apologies on the, I don't know, on the context of the letters, no, that is medyo nagkamali tayo. There's a typo, so to speak. So anyway, the right fit, they look at his, yung C-level would always look at the uh, uh, situation, no, in reference to the role that they are being considered, or they are being, and they are being presented to. So they would like to see if, of course, am I gonna be the right fit in the very culture in the organization that this opportunity is presenting. Number 2, opportunities to bring something unique and valuable to the company. This is very critical because some C-level people would like to be more on the strategic part, meaning to say that when they see an opportunity, they have to understand what is the potential contribution that they can make, the challenge that presents, the challenge which is actually viewed as an opportunity, because this is where they would be able to shine. So when you talk of C-level, yan yung mga tinitingnan, no? And then, of course, healthy team dynamics with other executives. And when I enter, no, when you talk of recruiting these people, when I enter this organization, would I be working with a team that is actually the same beliefs as I do? Are they someone, or are they people who would be able to adapt to what I want to happen, and vice versa? Because strategization would, of course, include those considerations. Why? Because, of course, when you enter into a new organization, especially if you're going to assume, a high level in an organization or a company, then you have to look at that perspective as well to understand who you would be working for, because these people would be the ones considered as your subordinates when you enter the organization. And would it be, would it enable a creative or a synergistic dynamics when you talk of entering into this new opportunity that's being presented? That has to be in consideration also. That has to be considered when you talk of recruiting people at this tier. No, these are the people that are actually in the higher level of the, of course, food chain. No, they're in the higher level of the ladder, so to speak. So these are the things that are very critical as mercenaries or headhunters. No, so these are the things that we look into when we recruit for our beloved clients. No, so in short, no, in summary, it is very important that the talent war doesn't end only between the employers and the talent that they wish to bring. The headhunters would always be a vital ingredient because the headhunters would be the one to do the dirty work. They are the ones on the ground seeking and sourcing potentials for their clients, while the clients are waiting, for the results of the activities of their headhunters and ensuring them a better view of what potentials they can see when sourcing has been done. The candidates are presented, and then, of course, when these candidates are presented, the interest level would be there or not, depending on how good you are in terms of your strategies when you source the talent in this war that we're talking about. So, moving forward, I've discussed how to win the war as a headhunter because we are the ones actually helping out the employers. Now, in this case, I have a 9-point scheme that an employer would wish to consider whenever they want to, of course, engage in a war for talents. So talent acquisition requires a 360-degree view of all the benefits to the job seeker. So this particular slide would tell us that when you want to win the war, somehow you have to have that viewpoint. A 360 degrees would mean all the aspects that would enable you to attract the talent that you wish to bring into your organization has to be taken into account. Pay, culture, benefits, opportunity for advancement, personal growth, and more important to team members. So ibig sabihin yan, when we try to attract people, we have to look at it from a vantage point of how we can attract them, what we promise for them, and that promise should be fulfilled. Otherwise, disillusionment would happen. And when they are disillusioned, then, of course, you may have win, the war for bringing in the candidate, but you lose them thereafter because of a disillusion as caused by a failure to deliver what you have promised to the talent that you have brought in. Point number 2, so networking is still the best way to find a job and the best way to find workers. So when you do networking, if you are in the recruitment profession, if you are the employer, bear in mind, there's this saying, you're not working if you're not networking. In the realm of course, social media, in the realm of course, expanding the horizon for you, expanding and stretching your reach in terms of your visibility, networking plays a vital role. It's always important to recognize that people are changing jobs more frequently today than in the past. So the experience they have as they exit your company could be the beginning of a whole new recruitment cycle. So what does that mean? When you network, position your opportunities in a majority of places, especially in the social media. Very important. The networking is not only confined to, of course, person to person, company to company, association to association. The social media, you are attached to the whole world. That will be expounded and explained later. So it's very important that you are visible. It's very important that your visibility, that's the very reason why it's called visibility. You have to be everywhere. So that speaks about this slide. So third point, flexibility is key. Experiment with non-standard work situations over the past year that we would never have voluntarily implemented. So be open to flexible and hybrid work arrangements, and the talent market is demanding that we keep an open mind and consider new and creative work solutions going forward. Consider work from anywhere strategies to remove, of course, the perception of the difficulty of reporting to work on site. There are certain jobs that would entail, of course, presence in the organization. There are specific industries that requires the warm body on site. But there are also functions that, can be used in order for us to, of course, enable that hybrid arrangement or probably a work from home arrangement. So the flexibility, when you talk of flexibility, always be open. We have to be open and creative enough to look at things in terms of how you conduct your operations. Nowadays, it is always an attraction when candidates would hear that there are work from home arrangements. Again, that has begun. Before the COVID, it was the beginning of course, the what you call the ano ba, fourth industrial revolution. Fourth industrial revolution talks about digitalization. So when you talk of digitalization, COVID has actually expedited the digitalization aspect. Everybody went from, of course, face to face to a Zoom. Although there was Skype in the past, now there are plenty of platforms that are available to enable the work from home arrangement. There are platforms such as Google Meet, Zoom in particular, no, is actually the top thing. StreamYard that we're using right now. We also have Microsoft Teams and Google Go-To Meetings. No, Skype was there, but again, in the evolution, because of this digital transformation and because of this COVID pandemic that has resulted to uh, enabling digital platform in terms of providing activities with reference to your work, this has happened. So as an employer, be open and be creative in terms of putting into perspective some kind of uh, arrangements, no, that would attract the talent. This is not about the productivity aspect anymore, because the digital has already addressed how to measure the output when there are actually work from home arrangements. This is about enabling what has now evolved, no, in terms of attracting people. What has now evolved from the usual work arrangement to somehow a different kind of approach in terms of employment. Although the IT has been there for quite some time, they are utilizing this approach. But then again, of course, it has encroached, no, in other industries, because work from home is now a consideration when you try to attract talent. Okay, gig economy is thriving. This has begun, especially during the start of the fourth industrial revolution, which is the digitalization, no? So the gig economy, because of the emergence of a lot of technologies, there are certain activities that can be farmed out to freelancers. There are certain activities that are or can be assigned through project basis. So of course, the gig economy is there. It's an open thing. You wish to, of course, entice people. Consider freelancers. Consider them because they can deliver based on time-based arrangement and output and outcome metrics in terms of service level expectation. So this is actually growing. This is a growing industry. So if you are the employer, take into consideration also, people that wish to engage employment which are project-based or outsourced arrangement, no, through the gig economy principle. No? Number 5, employee engagement is critical. Many are asking how to engage a remote workforce, and the answer is to not differentiate in-office from remote when it comes to engagement. So, ibig sabihin nito, the employee engagement may be on-site or can also be off-site, no? Depending on the processes that you have, depending on the activities that you have, depending on the industry that you're in. Then look into the different ways of engagement that you can apply when you try to attract talent. This is relative to the gig economy or the gig thing, no, the gig thing. Or even so, where there are activities that can be done at home, consider that as well. Be open to, of course, flexible arrangements. So when you do employee engagement activities, make sure to always look at it from a total standpoint. As long as the expectations are delivered in terms of work, then be open to such kinds of arrangement. Next, succession planning. No? So this has always been important, not only today, but all from way back, even before the digital age. No, the succession planning always has to be in consideration, especially if you're in the HR practice. You have to understand succession planning. There is always that probability, the inevitable probability that one will actually leave your organization. The topic earlier that was shared, it's very interesting because you train and eventually the person leaves, then your investment is lost. But again, the topic has indicated, make sure that you have ways and means that would enable the person to stay. So it's not about only providing them the training, but it is also about providing them, you know, a view of the future when they are already employed. In the principle of succession planning, it protects, number one, the business continuity aspect. So, at any given point that one resigns, then you would be ready either to promote someone from within, or, you have avenues where you can tap people and bring, or tap talent and bring them in. There are talent. Of course, the first level that you have to consider when there would be people leaving from the top, then there should be people from the lower ranks that you can bring up. Well, that's part of what you call succession planning. You have to make sure that, when you train someone at the top, no, then you should also train someone at the bottom who is actually the immediate subordinate, to allow you somehow ensure that nothing will be disrupted when someone from the top leaves. And this is what you call succession planning. Very important, not only, of course, in the past, not only today, but also, in the near and far future. You have to put this in place. You have to make sure that you will always be ready for that inevitable. Resignation is not about, resignation is not about it's not just about the severance of the employee-employer relationship. It is about giving the employee or the talent to have that freedom of choice where to go to. The journey in each employer is temporary in nature. And there is no such thing as loyalty. Loyalty is only loyalty to oneself. When the time comes that the employee or the talent would wish to move forward, then that particular moment when he decides or she decides to send out his resume, the relationship already has started to, of course, cease, no? The cessation process begins when the person has had, or the employee made that judgment and decision to update his or her resume and potentially send it out, no, or send it out in the marketplace, especially sending it out to reliable mercenaries. Okay, so next, social media marketing is always advantageous. Sabi ko nga kanina, networking. Part of networking is social media. Social media is actually one of the greatest evolution, when you talk of course, our life, not only as recruiter, but also in the marketing realm or in any business that you're in. Social media allows us to reach as far as the opposite part of the world. Social media can be viral. Social media can help your visibility and presence. So, what am I saying? Be in the social media arena. Be in the social media realm. When you are an employer and you wish to attract, when you wish to attract talent, you have to be visible. Your organization, I should say, should be visible in all the social media platforms, from website to Facebook or whatever, Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever available social and digital platforms. Why? This is where job seekers would, explore and look at viable possibilities for them. So if you're not visible in these platforms, then you will not be seen by potential talents that you may, again, potentially hire. So you have to be visible. When you are not seen, then how can you attract? Diba? So you have to understand that talent would always do some advanced research. What is this company all about? They first look at the job opportunity, then followed by, clicking the website. What is this company all about? They look at the history. In the same manner, the information that I said. They look at the company, they look at the history, they look at the mission, vision, they look at the products and services. Is this aligned to their standards? If they say yes, then definitely they will be sending their profile, to this job posting. Either the job posting is made by the employer themselves or by the headhunters. So, bear in mind, it is a contributing formula when you talk of being an employer and winning the war on talents. Again, what I'm sharing is my perspective on how I see things. There might be others who would have a different perspective as to what I can, share right now. But then again, being in the headhunting realm for what, 25 years, I guess, to a certain extent, we are talking about 80-90% accuracy of what I share. Okay. Oh, I shared about mission vision, no? So ito yon, number 8, provide an inspiring vision and purpose. Ito yung VMV. No? Companies normally put this in their website, so social media. So all employers, if you want to attract good talent, then you have to present this so that the expectations would somehow be there already when you talk of job hunters, or not job seekers, I should say. Talent, not talent that wish to be, of course, employed, entering into a new chapter of their career life. They would look at this. They would study this. They would try to look at it and understand what they're entering into, granting that when they get to be, or granting when they get to be employed. And lastly, continue to invest in technology. Never cease. Technology. No, I've been in the technology industry for quite some time. Technology is continuous. It never ceases. When I started my headhunting business and outsourcing activity, the technology that I have been exposed to is actually Visual Fax Pro. I don't know if you've heard of that. You have Visual Basic, you have C++, and now it has evolved. The evolution of technology is continuous. C++, Java, C#.NET, VB.NET, and all the other technologies. It is continuously developing and it never ceases, no, to advance. And as employer, you have to have that in place. So ensure that you are adapted to the technology advancements, because this is actually a premium for any potential talent that may, wish to be employed in your company. You have to understand that, no one will be attracted to a backward organization, but a lot of people will be attracted, to a moving forward industry and employer. A lot of things has evolved from the time that I started my business in the headhunting and in the recruitment realm. No, it changed a lot. The dynamics has changed a lot. If we did not adapt, then my businesses have been closed already. And this is what I share. We have to understand as well that there is a need for us. If you want the right talent, then you have to have this in place. You should be progressive in your approach in terms of viewing what technology to invest in. Otherwise, you will lose the ball game. Hindi ka pa pumapasok sa digmaan, ay talo ka na. The war is so huge, especially when you talk of talent wars. It's so huge. Headhunters, a dime a dozen, as I shared. Right? But how do we win? Of course, the quality of service that we provide to them through the strategies that I've initially shared. But you have to remember the trade secrets on how you win it further. No? But for employers, understand that, talents have a variety of mindsets, have a variety of dynamics, have a variety, of perspectives. And this 9-point scheme that I shared would somehow help you in winning the war in terms of talent scouting. No? Talent war is a very, very challenging activity, because, people will have varied mindsets, and they would always look at things that would best serve their needs and standards. So with that, I would like to end my session by extending everyone who has listened a thank you very much. No? So we can now proceed to a question and answer. I hope that the questions would not be as difficult, but I'll do my best to somehow address them in accordance to, of course, how I understand things, in the recruitment and talent war realm. So marami pong salamat. So I give the floor to Mentor Darwin and Mentor Rona. No? I hope you are happy with my presentation.
Ay,
Thank
very
you,
much
Sir
happy
Froilan.
si Froilan.
Sir,
Actually, may question po. Sige, Coach Darwin, una ka na po.
Sige, bago tayo magsimula ng Q&A natin, nagpapabati lang. Good afternoon, Coach Darwin, Ma'am Rona, Tina, and Sir Froilan, watching from Cavite with our whole TA team from Antel Group, a real estate industry. Okay, so nanonood yung mga recruiters and sourcing professionals natin. At for sure, marami silang natutunan sa inyo, Sir Froilan. Now, let's start the ball rolling in terms of Q&A. Sir Froilan, do you think that at these times where war on talent is really prevailing kasi nga because of what has happened post the pandemic, and each and every organization is pumping out resources to their own talent acquisition team. Do you think that headhunters or third party recruitment partners is still something that relevant at these times?
I would say yes, we are very relevant. We have survived the pandemic. And what are the industries that actually tapped us? Technology industries. So if you understand the type of industry that you would like to serve, look at it from that perspective. It will never cease because people, employers would want the experts. That's why there is what you call subject matter experts. We are those. Ma'am Rona knows that. We are those subject matter experts. We know where to find the people. They don't know it. They know the process of recruitment, but they do not know where to tap the right talents based on what they need. Because these people are hiding. You will not see them all the time. But if you're, someone who is a reliable headhunter, you will always know where to find them. And that is where the networking aspect comes into play. Like myself, I've been to several industries. I have been exposed to several industries. So if there would be relative industries that I understand, and this happened to be where, a client would tap me, and I have that strong foundation in terms of understanding the industry and the people they're at, then it's easy for me. It will never cease, sir. Kasi in the past 25 years, although there is an evolution of the business, the dynamics of how we process, the beauty of what has transpired right now is we also serve people or companies outside of the Philippines.
Mm-mm.
So, ibig sabihin, the technology has also somehow changed the dynamics of this industry that we are in, no? Sa headhunting in particular. It will never die, sir. If it will die, matagal na dapat. But I've
Agree.
been here, no? Half of my life, half of my life actually is, doing recruitment for my company, for my clients. So, yun ang reality. People or companies would always come to us. People would always, either choose a headhunter that is branded, or they want a more discreet approach. They come to those, or they go to those freelancers. Ang laki ng competition, sir. And the reason why it's so huge is because it is very, very, sabihin natin, a viable option when you want an enhanced recruitment effort for your company. 'Di ba? Ako pag may nagtanong kaya nyo ba ito? Try us, 'di ba? And I would even go for, the most complex position, because the other headhunters who doesn't like complex positions, di akin na 'yun, 'di
True.
ba? All it makes really sense, because why? It's very impossible, that an HR, no matter how good you are, with the gamut of requirements, and you have a variety of managers prescribing you the requirements, multiple yan, di ba, sir? It never ceases, multiple yan. And, the HR would sometimes have that difficulty because of the pressure coming from the top. And that is where we come into the picture. We only help naman, we do not force ourselves. We only help when we are tapped, when the help is actually requested from us. And again, going back to your question, sir, I think it will never die as an industry, because, if it will, then it has been dead already. And I may not be in this business anymore. baka, di ba, I ventured in another business. No? Sa ano lang, sir, sa service contracting, it's still there. And it's being, and again, it's being used by the politicians as an issue, yung service contracting. But why are we existing? Because there is a need. There is a need for outsourcing. And there's beauty behind that. No? third-party recruitment services, there is always beauty behind it. Tama ba, Ma'am Rona?
True. Agree ako dyan,
Di
Sir
ba?
Buhay.
Kami ni Ma'am Rona, magkaibigan kami niyan matagal na. Di ba? We serve one common client. Ewan ko yun, ma'am, mga 10 o 20 years ago, si
Si Plastilens.
Pastilens. No, I know
Yes,
the
sir.
owners actually. But you know,
Si Sir Bucci.
si Butchie Silvosa. So yung
Opo.
story namin ni Ma'am Ron, kahit na competitors kami, we don't attack each other. We love the competition because that is the measure of how we are as headhunters. If we win this, then we are better. But it doesn't mean, that it makes you lesser. In that
True,
particular exercise, nakuha ko. But it doesn't end there. Maaring nga nakuha ko yung isa, pero sa kanya 5. But it doesn't make me a lesser service provider. But what I'm saying, sir, in reference to your question, I think it will not die as an industry. Especially right now in the digital age, fourth industrial revolution na po tayo. Ang daming technology that are actually emerging. Ang daming technology where we can do the headhunting activity. Di ba? Because, these people, you don't see them visible eh. How do you now track them? How do you now find them? That is where the trade secret comes in. Di ba, Ma'am Roda?
Totoo.
So, ayun, I hope I was able to satisfy and answer your query, Coach Darwin.
Sir, may question ako. Actually, ito ay question na isa sa mga members natin na headhunter din. Isa sa mga nagiging challenge daw niya is pagdating sa sweldo. Paano daw ba niya kukumbinsihin yung kliyente na sobrang baba ng sweldo nila, ang hirap mag-hire?
Good question. Good question. Now, of course, we would not enter into an engagement where there is a losing value proposition. Ang value proposition to perspective, galing sa atin, galing sa kabila, sa client. Now, what's the point of course, engaging in the exercise wherein they want a Mercedes-Benz but their budget is for a Sarao jeepney? Di ba? Will you be able to place? I can find the people, but the placement, no, it all depends on how they would decide that. If you tell me, that your conditions are not realistic, then it's not business viable also. It's not alone, designing of an engagement. It is also understanding if they're capable of providing, the remuneration package that, each professional would aspire for. Diba? You tell her to call me up. I don't mind sharing how it's done.
Sige,
Mahirap
message lang
yan.
po.
Mahirap. Yeah. You can send them my info. Kasi ako, I always believe in co-opetition eh. Competition is existent. But the co-opetition can be done through collaboration. Baka meron ka na talent para sa client ko or vice versa, meron akong talent para sa client mo. So the ball game in terms of winning, of course, in the headhunting activity, talent wars, mercenaries kami, di ba? You have to have that huge, very, very huge candidate database. So that is where we're confident at. Kaya yung question niya, you study if that is a viable exercise or not. Otherwise, on a place mo nga, ang placement fee mo 100, pero tinrabaho mo 10 taon, 10 buwan. Di 1,000
Wala
naman.
rin kwenta.
The profitability now. You have to understand it's not about making the placement alone. As a businessman, you have to understand also whether this is something viable. Okay yan, sirs and ma'ams, no? Kung halimbawa, 10 months mo na i-place, pero ang binayad sa'yo, 1 million pesos. That's 100,000 monthly. I see that as a beautiful number. But if you really are good, in 6 months, you can place that 1 million. Especially if you have that clients outside the Philippines. Diba? So, ganun yun. So,
Sir Froilan,
yes,
Michelle Delfinado says hi. She had the opportunity to work with you
Hello,
way
hello.
back
Yeah, yeah.
1996. Nice to see you
Yeah,
down, Sir
yeah.
Froilan.
Hello, Michelle.
And then Lou Lizelle says, "Good afternoon, coaches and mentors, watching from Pangasinan." And another viewer is Gilbert. Oh wait, just want to share my take out on Sir Froilan regarding the 360-degree view of what job seekers look. Maybe the same approach can be used for those employees who are resigning and check whether the company can renegotiate in order to retain them.
Yeah. Well, it's always possible, no? Kaya lang siyempre, you have to be very careful. If I may comment, coach, if I may
Yes, sir.
comment to the statement, no? Sometimes it's very dangerous to do that. From an HR perspective, I changed my hat from a headhunter to an HR. Very dangerous to do that because they would use that, no, as a precedent. They would use that as a precedent. So, if you negotiate, no, oh, stay ka na lang, dagdagan ko or whatever, no. You have to be very careful in that discretion because the cycle would be in the next 1 or 2 years, gagawin niya na naman because he wants to have that, of course,
Agree.
increase, no. But it all depends, how bullish are you and how valuable this employee in your operations. That's why the succession planning has to also be put into perspective. Anyone in our companies, I've been in as an employer, I've been an employer for what, 25 years plus. We have to make sure that, resignation, or put in mind that resignation is inevitable. Sabi ko nga, loyalty is only loyalty to oneself. People would leave. When they stay with you, say 10, 15, 20 years, still it is deemed temporary. It is only a chapter in their career lives.
True.
When the inevitable happens because they have that change of heart. Sabi ko nga, the mere thought, no, the mere thought that they decided to update their resume, no, and think about opportunities outside, it is already the beginning of the cessation process. When that person has decided, magte-test the waters yan, Di ba? Magte-test the waters yan. I've been an employee myself. And that has been the case. And I come from a standpoint of being an employee and as an employer po. Diba? I'm sure you have been exposed to that. Mahirap. So, my piece of advice, if the person wants to go, diba? Especially if, hindi naman talaga critical, then let her be.
True.
It will
Agree.
set a precedence, and which is very dangerous. Unless you are a big company like Microsoft or whatever, Google, no? Di ba? And you can afford to spend as much. Kaya lang mahirap yun. They will always
Ito
use
yung
that as a
sinasabi natin,
caveat.
Sir Froilan, na not everyone should be saved.
Yes, yes. Ganun yung, di ba, when we want to remove. No one is indispensable. Also, in the perspective of an employee, no employer is indispensable. Di ba? So, it's
There
either
should
us
always
removing them
okay.
or them removing us from their lives.
There's always a choice. Sir
Yeah,
Froilan,
correct. Yes, po.
Gilbert is watching from Silay, Negros Occidental. So there are people watching from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Last
Hello.
question from my answer for Ilan would be, let's address the elephant in the room right now. Do you think that because of the post-pandemic or the new normal, a lot of employees become more lax or lazy because they have opportunities to work from home or they opt to work from home. They don't want to go back to working on site, or they feel they have many options right now because of the many companies offering working at home arrangements.
Actually, it's a very interesting question. No? Let's look at how it transpired, no? This white elephant thing. No? Before, syempre, before COVID, everything was viewed as normal. So, nauso yung new normal, di ba? So, adaptation from the old activity, moving towards the new one, how do we sustain our businesses? So, in order for us to justify that there is output that we need, then we have to make these arrangements. I myself has actually done some changes to adapt to the situation. Kasi from an old normal, Sabi ko nga yan, temporary normal yan. Pero of course, the new mindset is the new normal, di ba? So when this COVID happened, we had to sustain our activities because we still had recruitment requirements. So initially, because of the fear of COVID, everybody was required to work from home, except for a selected few. So how did we adapt or traverse this challenge? We implemented several measures. Nandyan yung transport services, nandyan yung in-house that you can sleep, no? Tapos all paid for yan. So do sa question on white elephant, when the adaptation of the new approach in terms of work, 'di ba? And the employer wishes the output, ginawa ito na work from home because technology is there. If the output required can be done by way of computer or technology, then it became a discretion and a decision thereafter. Sige, gawin natin to. It works. Now, from the old normal leading towards the new normal, nag-adapt na sila. When they were able to adapt, then it becomes a norm for themselves. Na ayaw na. Kaya naman pala. And now, the psychology of these people now, they would justify, ayoko na pong pumasok, dito na lang ako. Now, the employer now is in a quandary. Should I issue them a RTO or a return to work order, RTWO, or just allow them to sustain or allow them to continue what they're doing? Kaya ngayon, the demands, no, because of the Great Resignation, saan nanggaling yung Great Resignation? Kasi ayaw na nilang bumalik and they're opting now for companies that could offer work from home arrangements. So that was a result of a solution that employers has devised. And therefore, this white elephant came about. Pinanganak itong puting elepante. Ngayon, ang new normal na sinasabi, lahat na ito ng new normal, ayaw na nila doon sa the original arrangement. They are no longer considering the legal aspect of things. May legal implication yan eh. But of course, I will not discuss that. That can be discussed on a different topic. But what I'm saying is that it was born by way of adapting to the situation, and it was devised by the employers. Now, when the employers decided to take that away from them, resign. Because they don't like to work on site anymore. No matter what explanation you will tell, the mindset of that new normal, the new working arrangement, has been embedded already, which started in 2020 and was devised by the business sector and the employers, right? So ngayon, ang nangyayari, yun na yung new normal, naka-embed na sa kanila yan, ayaw ko na. Ayaw ko nang bumalik sa dati. But the truth of the matter, sir, and Ma'am Rona, di ba? Sinasabi nila mas productive. No. You may be productive based on written output. Meron ng loko sa amin. Ayoko na lang sabihin yung pangalan. Nag-work from home. So, may reports. Then when we requested for the reports, pina-require namin O, saan lahat niyan? Zero. O, then eventually, di ba? We discovered that, in the administrative function, you cannot adapt the work from home arrangement. But in the recruitment activity, you can interview anywhere. But when you talk of administrative function, di ba? Administrative support, accounting, cannot be. So going back to your question, sir, it is now happening that people are requesting for this because natamasa nila. 'Di ba, sa droga, pag-usapan natin ng droga, pero legal na sa alak, 'di ba? Nagsimula sa patikim-tikim hanggang ito ay lumalim, 'di ba? So, napakalalim na embed na sa mga utak nila, akala nila itong new normal arrangement is business viable all the time. Not all. Yes, to some, especially for programmers, technology-driven activities, yung mga virtual assistant, pwede yan. But in our industry, sa service contracting po, sa manpower or agency staffing, we call it service contracting, yung legitimate term dyan. Cannot be. Kaya yan lumabas si White Elephant. There are certain applicabilities in certain industries, that would be considered as acceptable to the processes that are happening in their businesses. But to some industries, hindi po pwede. Paano tayo maging work from home kung tayo ay service crew? Paano tayo maging work from home pag tayo nasa quick service industry? McDonald's, ganyan. So, there are certain industries that the work from home can be a viable option. Ang investment lang dyan, Sir, Coach Darwin and Coach Rona, no? Ang savings mo dyan sa mga arrangements na yan is that wala ka ng office rental. You only spend for bandwidth. Mahirap nga mag-issue ng laptop, baka nakawin pa. 'Di ba? Wala kang capex sa laptop. You want to work from home, you invest on your connectivity, you invest on your laptop. I pay you based on output that we agree by way of an SLA. Doon papasok yung gig. 'Di ba? Yung gig arrangements. So I hope I was able to answer your question, sir. I think it's an insight that, based on my understanding of my industry and based on the certain arrangements that we have for our clients as well. Because we have clients like, meron nga lifestyle concerns. Ano yun? Pero work from home, di ba? Ano ba yung lifestyle concerns?
Ano yun?
Yun nga. Di ba? There are new positions that are actually emerging. Nagulat nga ako, lifestyle concerns. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful position, di ba? It has that prestige. No? It has that premium when you are holding that position title, di ba? Yung virtual assistant nga, ang ganda Dati admin assistant, di ba? Ngayon, virtual assistant. But the functions are the same. It's only that the activity is more virtual rather than, being on-site and doing that administrative activities.
Agree. Mr. Rona, any questions from your end?
I think nabanggit na natin lahat ng question at nabati na rin natin ang lahat ng ating mga taga-subaybay dito. Naku, maraming salamat po, Sir Froilan, for spending the day with us and for sharing your knowledge. Naku po, tagal na nga namin magkakilala ni Sir Froilan. Alala pa si Sir Bucci.
20 years ago yun, Ma'am Rona. 20 years ago yun. No?
Kaya nga po, ang tagal na. Ganun na po tayo katanda. Aray!
Kahit si Coach Darwin, I know him na already. James Martin to Headstrong yata, sir? Di ba? That's why, when you gave me that invitation, outrightly, I said yes.
Actually, Sir Froilan, nung message ko kayo sa LinkedIn, sabi ko na kung maalala pa kaya ako ni Sir Froilan.
Oo naman.
Ayan.
Ako pa.
Ayan.
Ay,
pero
Coach Darwin and Coach Rona, as you all know, as you are fully aware, I'm also board of director of Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, and one of my key role is my role as a PRO is public relations. So I would like to probably forge an alliance, with Philippine HR Group. So yung mga bossing natin dyan, I might be inviting you for one of our general membership meetings. The intention is for you to understand, especially the HR practitioners, to understand what legitimate service contracting is all about. Kasi marami po dyan, di ba? Oo, marami dyan ng mga fly by night. And we would like to, of course, invite you. You can also speak there, sir, if I may request that, to explain naman sa aming industry and our members who Philippine HR Group is all about and what the advocacies of your group is all about. Ang ganda na magiging collaboration natin.
Sir Froilan, saan ka po nila po pwedeng makontak if ever they would want to be part of Pulse Call or if they would want to invite you to provide a talk or for training, saan, or your services po?
Or your services, sir.
Services. Pwedeng i-type ko. Makikita ba nila? Ay, no. Okay. Let me just share my website. Now, my website is FV Florendo. That's Foxtrot Victory Florendo at hrnetworkph.com. You can also check my website at www.hrnetworkph.com. And of course, My beautiful number is 0917-539-3358. Ma'am Rona, isend mo rin sa akin yung number mo, ha?
Sige
Para
na
at
po.
least, I don't have it. We only communicate via LinkedIn. And Coach
Oo nga,
Darwin, ha?
sir.
I look
Yes,
forward
sir.
to the collaborations with our business organization together with your FB organization.
Same
So,
here.
oo,
Sir,
it's gonna be, yeah.
can people add you on LinkedIn or send an email to you if they have if they're interested to get you as a speaker or as a vendor partner?
Yeah, I can be reached naman sa LinkedIn, or if you wish to send a direct email, that's also possible. You can send me a message, just indicate your name and also, what you want from us. No, of course, if you want me to be of service to your company as a headhunter or as a speaker, and then just let me know. Basta meron lang information na who you are, diba, and what company are you from? Para hindi naman ako manghuhula kasi maraming scammer. So, sabi mo nga sir do sa page kanina sa SSS, di ba? Mag-ingat. So, it's the same manner, no? But I'm here for everyone. If anybody would wish to, of course, engage in my services for talks, training sessions, or even our headhunting activities and service contracting, feel free. You know, So I'm very much happy, no, with this. I didn't expect na masarap yung magiging conversation. Eh. Ang ganda ng mga questions nyo, but I hope that this would not be the last. And I look forward to
Of course,
something in
sir.
the future. No? Basta yung
Okay,
collaboration, Coach Darwin, ha, tsaka Ma'am Rona, ha. Let's
Oo
do
we'll
it.
naman
do
po,
No?
that
sir.
po.
We'll invite you, ha. We'll invite you in one of our GMMs para, you get to see the beauty of what we do naman as legitimate service contractors.
Sir
So yun
Froilan,
po.
any last words from your end before we end the program?
Okay, so number one is, of course, I'd like to thank everyone, no, who actually joined this short learning session, and I hope that I was able to share something to you for your appreciation, and apply it hopefully, no, and I hope it helps you in your what's this talent war, no, in your campaign for talent wars, no, and also, of course, I'd like to thank Ma'am Rona and Coach Rona and Coach Darwin for giving me this special privilege and opportunity to be in this session. Ako. I love it
Honors
po.
are, sir.
Ayan, no, heart po, heart. So yun po. So thank you very much. And I'm just here to those who wish to, of course, know me more. Feel free to touch base with me anytime po. And I will be more than willing to, of course, accommodate yung mga request niyo po. So yun po. With that, thank you very much and have a blessed Palm Sunday po.
Thank you, Sir Froilan. Mentor Rona, I'll give the floor to close our show for today.
Ayan, naku, napaka-exciting ng ating naging araw ngayon. At alam ko lahat po kayo ay excited po sa susunod na linggo. Subalit, pahinga po muna tayo dahil next week po ay Easter Sunday. So, kailangan po natin ng time para naman i-celebrate natin ang Easter Sunday. So, wala po tayong HR Cafe for next Sunday. Next Sunday na po ulit tayo magkikita. Thank you so much everyone for sharing your day with us. And we hope na marami po tayong napulot sa mga shinare po ng ating guest speakers or Froilan, Florendo. We hope to see you next Sunday sa isa na naman pong edition nitong HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba Pa. Till then po, keep safe and have a great day. Bye everyone!
Bye, everyone. God bless. Ending broadcast.